games, what they do is they bring people together, right? Either when you're playing with your siblings when you were young, even if you hot swap controllers, or you hate your brother, you hate your sister for not letting you play, it's still a bonding moment. I know so many people who have fond memories of games, and most of them are actually because they played with someone else. In the Philippines, I did play a lot of multiplayer games like Counter-Strike or StarCraft, but they're all on the local area networks and internet cafes. But when I moved to the United States, the internet was a lot better, and there's actually a lot of players with computers at home. So in the US, I started playing a lot of online games, connected games, and connecting with people who weren't in my neighborhood and all across the US. For me, game design and making games was like the only thing I could really pursue with a passion. I thought about should I be a doctor? No, I don't like blood. Should I be an engineer? I don't like to be too precise. And I knew I was creative, and I knew from my research that making games required you to be creative and technical at the same time. So that was something like, I could do that. So I started sending out my resume 8 months before graduation. 2 weeks before graduation, I got a call like, hey, we have a contract at Microsoft. Would you want to come? And I said, yeah, I want to interview. So I flew out, got an offer the same day. I went and got an apartment that day, flew back, literally 30 minutes before graduation, drove straight to graduation, got my diploma, I'm gonna head out now, and went back to my apartment and started packing. And within 2 or 3 days, I was out back in Seattle working. I was in and out of Microsoft for a few contracts, and then worked for XNA, which is basically what started the indie game revolution, making it so that creating games became easier because you had all the frameworks set up for you. The opportunity came when Windows Phone launched, and I said, you know what? No one knows how to make games for Windows Phone. I know how to do it, and I'm gonna own this market, which I pretty much did for the first year. I pumped out 24 games. I made more than $130,000 in a year just making games that I liked. And for me, that was like, wow, that was awesome. Working in the HTC Vive, I knew that feeling that I was working on something very special is in the early days when we gave demos. And these kits we were using were kind of like, they're very alpha, very prototypey. Every time we gave it to someone, they put on the headset, oh, I'm in VR, oh, I can walk around, oh, that's cool. But when we give them the controllers and they touch it, oh my God, suddenly they just became a little kid. They're just like, oh my God, this is so fun. And they'll be there for like 15 minutes. And it was like the simplest demo, and they were so amazed and happy. So for me, seeing those moments over and over and over again, very consistently, like 100%, you've had every single skeptic turn into a believer. It's like, this technology is real, this is gonna change the world. VR is awesome by itself, but it is magical with other people interacting with you and experiencing it with you. And for me, that's really what drives creating Roomy and Doghead simulations, is giving the people who are naturally social beings, giving that power to interact in new ways that we haven't even understood or invented yet. And that's really something that drives my passion right now. Even though I know that making a network game or a social game is like 100 times harder because you have so many things you have to account for versus a single player game. But that challenge is worth it because what you get out of it is like magic. So now that I've said that I've worked on a world-changing technology, I want to continue that. I want to actually change the world, change how people communicate with each other, how people relate to each other, and how people, in the most basic sense, react to the world, and how do they touch things, how do they interact with things. And it's an overarching thing. And VR is just one part of it, right? There's going to be other technologies that come on that I would want to use and play with to change the world. And I have a long path ahead of me, and I'm nowhere near done. I haven't even begun yet.